Thank you very much for joining us today, sir.
I will come over here the other way, please.
So, in Shannara Chronicles, it is the season finished for me. When do you start back with the second season? Is there anything that you would like to see happen in the second season of that?
Yeah, Shannara Chronicles was for me an opportunity that came along when I arrived in Hollywood for the first time. I just finished, my specific episodes on Arrow, and I was sort of looking for the next project, and Shannara was the first audition that I got in Los Angeles, and it was funny because at first I was questioning myself about whether I want to go for film or go to another TV series. And, I asked my management about Shannara, and they said that John Favreau was attached, and that was kind of like, John Favreau is such a great producer now, and does all the Iron Man films as well. So forming a relationship there was an important thing to do strategically, and we shot our first season of Shannara Chronicles, and that got released on MTV. MTV had just sort of come into this big production competition. Every network's going for a big original concept show now. So MTV taking on Shannara Chronicles was a great gamble on their behalf, because first of all, Terry Brooks' book series, if anybody's familiar with. Who's familiar with Terry Brooks? A few. Yeah, the book series itself is goes back almost 30 years. Is it? But like J.R. Tolkien, it's very well written. The fantasy world that he built is so beautifully explained in the books that you can take that material and turn it into either a TV or a film. But what they decided upon was that it would be better to be stretched out over a long duration of television, which is the right choice. Our first season, I think, coming out, MTV coming out with a statement that they're going to make big budget TV shows, everyone doesn't go to their TV and press MTV for drama. They go and press HBO or, TMZ or whatever, they choose all these other networks. So what we're trying to do with Shannara is to show that MTV's got the muscle to make a big hit like this. And our first series was really great. Visually, creatively, it was an amazing series. I'm very happy with the character that I play Alan. And I think, in my own progression as an actor, it's a character that has so much responsibility to the cast. Instead of sort of playing the offsider to the lead character and being a bit of a bad boy, Avalon is a protagonist, which is an interesting angle to take. But he's still got all very dark and interesting human matter that I like to express when it comes down to doing acting, because none of us are superheroes. And I like to bring the vulnerability to characters, because I think at the end of the day, the reason why people like Slade Wilson and the reason why people like Crixus is because I put them both in the mud and dirtied them up completely, and then just showed certain amounts of empathy within the character. And that's enough to tell somebody that person is true. And then whatever mistakes they do after there, it's kind of like, oh, you don't do that, kind of thing. It's an interesting way to sort of, try to, build characters, but if the characters already exist, like they did with Crixus, and they did with Slade Wilson, and they do with Avalon as well, then, it's really good material to work with.
And you found some incredible sets at the program. It's some beautiful scenery. Was there a particular favourite set that you have, a particular favourite place you shot the Shannara Chronicles?
Well, I think the thing that's most important about understanding how well the Shannara Chronicles is made visually is that, the people that I'm working with are all the same people that I work with on Spartacus. So, all of that wonderful visual that we were able to create with Rome, they're now creating in the world of Shannara. Also, a lot of the people in our costume department and our set department all worked on Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So, you know, we have that depth of experience in our production crew. You know, like, I mean, when we first arrived on the set and we went in and looked at the elm trees, you know, the giant tree. I mean, that thing was remarkable. And then, you know, I mean, as it was, it reached twice the ceiling height of this room. And then they said on top of, that's just the trunk of the tree. On top of the trunk of the tree, there's going to be this huge bloom of red leaves, you know, branches. So, you know, it's massive scale. I could tell straight away when I walked onto the set just how big the production felt. I think the ongoing struggle for any series is to make great script and compelling script and good relationship. And I think that's where, you know, when we're going into our second season, that's where we're going to learn from the first season and just create a better show and throw that out there. But, you know, I know there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of thought by our producers, and our second series is going to be something to watch, that's for sure.
And you've shot in both New Zealand and in Canada. What are the differences to shooting in the two places?
Well, in Canada, it doesn't stop raining for 9 months. Like, I don't know how people live it, honestly. You just got a special kind of, you know, fortitude, or be totally in love with the Vancouver Canuck ice hockey team. But they lose all the time, so I think, you know, there's like horrible suicide rate. But it's a beautiful, you know, environment. You know, it's just that nature up there needs a lot of water. You know, you've got these incredible forests, so that's what you saw in the background of Arrow. You know, you see this primordial forest scenes that are walking around on the island of Land-U. That's the ecology of Vancouver. It's a beautiful place to work. I remember on the first day on set, you know, I was out in the middle of this giant, you know, we took buses out into the middle of this mountainous range and put up near this river. And I got that my, you know, Slade Wilson swords on the back and my grey military outfit. And I took a stroll by myself into the bush, and I came across this giant pool. And I'm thinking, what is this pool? And it was still steaming. And one of the production guys came past and I went, what did that? And he went, that's a bear. And I didn't know that they had bears in Canada at that time. But, you know, I said, how big is this bear? He goes, I don't know, but I looked at that, it's probably, you know, it stood up maybe 6-7 foot. Oh, that's a big bear. It's still steaming. How far away do you reckon that bear is about there? And the funny thing was, like, I had this fascination to see a bear. And it wasn't until the last season. And we were in the middle of filming something, and suddenly the word started going around. It was a big black bear up near where the kitchen was in the commissary. And I just ran off set. And as I ran past, like one of the safety guys saw me and went, Manu, here, at least take this. He gave me this bear horn thing. And so we ran up and we got up to the commissary and there was this big black bear, you know. And luckily he was just waking up and was docile, you know, because really by the time I saw it, I realized, you know, this thing actually turned. I think I sort of been going, ripped me to shreds. But it was an interesting environment. New Zealand's environment, for me, Shannara Chronicles is really the first time I got to work in a New Zealand environment like that. Because when I was working on The Hobbit, I wasn't part of the main crew. You know, that was my role in The Hobbit was originally shot with a 7-foot actor in an Arzog suit, and then Peter Jackson in post-production, when he started putting the film together, decided that he wasn't happy with the look of Arzog as it was acted in the actual filming. So I got a phone call and got asked to fly down there because I only had 3 months until the premiere. And I got asked to go down there and film in a studio, motion capture. So Arzog was all motion capture, the same way Andy Serkis did Gollum. As a matter of fact, they came up to me when I arrived down there and they bought me a pair of shoes. And they said, you're the same size foot as Andy Serkis, and this is Andy's shoes. So I actually literally stepped into Andy Serkis' shoes to create the next, probably significant motion capture character. Stranger story was that the year before that I met up with Andy Serkis in San Diego Comic-Con, and him and I had a big conversation about motion capture. Funnily enough, 1 year later, I stepped into his shoes. Then when I did Spartacus was never shot outside of the studio. We were shooting in what used to be an old fish factory, for canning fish, and there was still like 1,000 seagulls that were gathered on the rooftop because of the old smell of the fish that was just coming there. When we were filming, we'd always have to stop because the seagulls would go wild and somebody had to go outside and throw rocks on the roof and make them take off. But we never got to go outdoors, so we never had to go outdoors at New Zealand in Spartacus. But with Shannara, we're shooting about probably 60-40, about 60-40 outdoors to studio. So we're getting a fair bit of. My favourite part is that in the series of Shannara Chronicles, I get to ride this giant black Frisian horse that's worth about, I think it's worth like $1 million or something. I'll throw this figure out, right? But it's really worth a lot of money. The guy that's the horse ranger on our show is his prize horse. It was actually the same horse that Spartacus rode in Spartacus, and then Crassus rode in Spartacus. And I think somehow it was involved in Tom Cruise's movie Samurai, Last Samurai, something as well as big horse. But it's amazing that when we get to shoot on the beach, on this beach called Bathurst Beach in New Zealand, I get to ride this horse over the sand dunes, and it's something special.
So we've got any questions over to you, so if you'd like to ask Manu a question, then stick your hand up and I'll come around with the microphone to you. Do you have questions for one Power Ranger? What's going on, Manu, right?
There you go.
Yeah,
you brother.
Yeah, just
how do you say good in Birmingham?
I'm from Liverpool, so you probably might understand what I'm saying right now.
How do you say it? What was a good bit of local jargon from Liverpool?
You say, Hanaco, pack of crisps, really good.
No, you can't call it a pack of crisps. I sound more stoic.
So the question is, Spartacus, what was the most enjoyable scene to create, and what was the most difficult one?
Kind of the same scene. My last scene in Spartacus, where I get executed, and I'm looking at Nadia. I was honestly, I was overwhelmed that day. I didn't know how to approach that scene. Usually I've got a plan, and I just didn't have a plan. I kept on going through my head. First of all, we hadn't really orchestrated at that stage what position I was going to be in, or how that, I had this fight scene where, basically I'm fighting Caesar. Him and me end up in a clinch, and then I'm holding him, I'm looking at him, and I headbutt him, and he goes down, and then I walk over the top of him, and I'm just like, Crixus, he could go, and I go like this, and then that young, what's his name? Anyway, Tiberius squeezed me, and there's this whole kind of moment that you've got to go into, which is like, how do you die slowly? Or how do you sit there after you're on your knees dying slowly, and make it the moment that this moment needs to be, and then look sideways and see Nadia, and have this eye contact, and then what's that going to be? Because there's no words. From the moment that I got stabbed, there was silence. And it was silence for literally maybe 3 minutes. So you just got to process, some kind of form of honest feeling. And I knew that the moment the shot was finished, the director, thankfully made my death scene my last scene, because sometimes you don't shoot in order. I think Spartacus ended up finishing on his line, I am Spartacus, at the end of a battle scene, but it wasn't his death scene. So I was in this moment of arriving in the studio, wondering, I just can't think of this feeling, you know. And also, I was very paranoid about getting an emotional scene right, because I'd done a movie called 30 Days of Night, and I'd done a scene in that where it's a horrific vampire film, where basically in order to save my family from being killed by the vampires, because everybody in the village was being killed when you become a vampire, I killed them. And Josh Hartnett's character finds me, and I'm like huddled in a corner. And at the audition, I killed that scene. I mean, I killed it. I thought, after the audition for that movie, I felt like the best feeling of having connected with a really, really hard emotion to connect with. But when I'd done it filming, I screwed it up. And I've been sitting in this corner going, you know, I just hadn't let the emotion flow. And for some reason, this particular layout, my mind was going, you're going to do the same thing you did in 30 Days of Night. You're going to lock up, and you're just going to stand there, and it's just not going to come out naturally. When I saw Cynthia, as we walked over to the set to do that particular scene, she was in a corner, and I looked at her, and she was crying. And I went over to her, Cynthia, who played Nadia. And I walked over and I said, Cynthia, you okay, darling? And she turned around and she went, and I said, you okay, sweetheart? Cynthia and I had only met her father about, I don't know, it was within 1 year or 2 years beforehand in London. I think it was a year beforehand. Her parents had separated when she was young. She'd been working with her mother in England or in America or something, in England, and her father had been somewhere else completely. And so she'd gone to see her father, and her father had passed away within a couple of months prior. And all of a sudden she was feeling this true feeling of loss in this moment. And I looked at her and I felt complete empathy for her. I lost my mother when I was young, and sometimes I find it hard to channel that. But she was channeling this freely. I did scenes with her. I mean, her performance to be able to cry was incredible. She could turn the taps on. Sometimes as men, I think we've got like a really hard, busted faucet. So basically, I looked at her and I just really felt for her. And to be honest, in that particular scene, I took a choice that I wouldn't be looking at Nadia, I'd be looking at Cynthia. And I knew she was going to be crying, and I knew she was going to be crying about losing her father. And I just stayed on my knees looking at her, going, it's okay. I mean, I have all this physical stuff happening, but the only process that was going in my mind was, it's going to be okay, Cynthia. You're going to be just fine. You know, your dad's not here to watch this performance. I know your career's taken off now, but you're going to be just fine. I remember sitting there with only that going on in my mind. And when I watch that scene, I see it. I see not acting. You know, and it's just a really, really beautiful scene for me to remember. There's actually a photo online, if you look up Princess and Navia, where I got my head against hers, and that was the set photographer took a photo a minute later or 2 minutes after it was called cut. And we're just sitting there as friends embracing each other. And, I mean, if acting's meant to strive to find the truth, that was a true moment. And I think that everybody who was Spartacus fans who ever watched that scene knew that was a real tearjerker. And it was, so that was the hardest and the most memorable. Yeah, no worries.
Hi, man. Spartacus, brilliant. You just explained the emotional story, but it's in your story. It's through on that route. Based on your view. I mean, there's two things here. How hard was the training and how hard was it for the Andy?
Okay, the training was something that was initiated it was very smart for them to start boot camp, like 2 months, 6 weeks out from production. Because I mean, when you're working in such a proximity of 20 guys and we're swinging swords, and there's going to be a lot of trust. When you guys would come on and you hadn't really sort of been initiated through the gladiator boot camp scenario, with you just be wary. But with the guys that we did the gladiator boot camp with, by the time we finished, we would all push each other. I mean, You know, the gladiator boot camp that we did for keep your guard up. You know, or as soon as you get hit back. You know, counter, block, counter. You know, so it became a sort of a second language. Like there was one time I was telling you when the new guys came on, it was you could tell they were just entering their own space, and you didn't know where that space was, so you had to sort of move with them in a sort of a wary way. One guy came on. It was Juro and Agron, the two brothers, and young Juro. I did a fight scene with him, and it involved kind of like kicking him around and calling him a pup, and then kicking him into this wall, and he went back at this wall, and the moment that he hit the wall, they went, cut, lunch, and everyone at lunchtime just puts their swords down on the ground. But you got like, I think on that day we would have had 40 gladiators, so 40 swords got put down on the ground. Then everybody walked up and had lunch, and then everyone gets tired because everyone has dessert, sugar rush, and everyone's like, we all come back on, you know, everyone's taking shots of coffee to try to wake up. And anyway, so 40 guys come back on, they were like, oh, mom, where's my sword? You know, they go, oh, there's one. Right? So I go into this fight scene with this young guy, and we're picking up from where we were before lunch, you know. And so we get to this scene like kicking, bang, kicking into the wall. He goes to the wall. And he's meant to hit the wall, and it's kind of like, whoa, and then come at me with his sword. Well, the moment that I kicked him, he hit the wall and bounced straight up and came straight back at me, and I was sort of surprised. It was one of those moments of spatial awareness. I was like, whoa, you're coming fast. And I kind of lifted my sword and sort of went like this, just tried to direct it out of the way, just directed it away from my body. But I sort of caught it late, and it stabbed me in the chest, and it started going into my chest, and I was like, whoa! And I've still got a scar on my chest where it ripped across my pectoral muscle. But honestly, like if he was going for right here, and if I hadn't, you know, really made a slight movement, it would have gone straight into my heart. And I just went, dude. I went, wait. Have you got a real sword? And he was like, yeah. I didn't explain the part that we don't use real swords on set. We had three types of swords. We had a real sword that would be held if we were doing presentation. And there'd been a presentation scene earlier where they do nice big close-ups and you walk out with your sword. It's going to look like it's shining, and it's kind of like, you know. So there's a nice close-up, they use that. But once we're into action, they break it down to quite a soft foam or soft rubber sword. And then we hit each other. Sometimes those swords start to bend in the middle of the scene and they like to cut. If you watch any of the action Spartacus scenes in slow motion, you'll see swords bending all the time, like in the middle of blocks. But yeah, on this particular occasion, he was using a real sword, and I was lucky to get away with the injury of just being a cut across my chest. Another time, I was having a fight with Dustin Clare and with Gannicus, and I knocked him onto the ground, and I went and then went to tackle him and lift him up and throw him to the ground, and they swapped him out with a stunt guy. And I said, listen, they're going to shoot this on Phantom, which means, you know, Phantom camera shoots 1,000 frames a second. So every little detail as you go through the air looks so amazing. You know, all the dust that's coming off your feet. You know, if there's any water on your floor, it's coming off in driblets, and you just like, oh, it's awesome. It's an awesome camera. Great for action. So I said to this guy, listen, I'm going to hit you as hard as I can so that we can fly through the air, you know? And he's like, yeah, our stunt guys were great. They were like, yeah, bro, just hit me as hard as you can. So I probably took about a 20-meter run up. I just went running at this guy and just fully hit him with my shoulder. And just launched, and we both launched through the air. Except when he hit the ground, he kept his knee bent. Oh. Like this. And I landed on top of it. And I mean, I got up and I was like, oh. And they said, you okay? I said, well, I kept on shooting. I just tried to stretch it out, and I kept on shooting for 2 more days, and then I flew to San Diego for the San Diego Comic-Con, where we were launching, I think, Spartacus that year. And and they said on the plane, like I almost stopped breathing in the airplane. You're not allowed to fly with broken ribs. But it ended up that I had 3 broken ribs from that particular moment. But like for 2 days, I kept on fighting it. As a matter of fact, I did this one. Do you remember the time we were burning the grain in Sinuessa? And they went to throw a torch, and I had to do like this cricket dive and grab the torch. That was the day after I broke 3 ribs. And every time I hit the ground, I was like, oh. Well, I thought it was Intercostals. But listen, I mean, the commitment, the physical commitment, I'm talking about my physical commitment, the physical commitment by everybody on Spartacus was phenomenal. I mean, after doing Arrow, you swap out with stunt guys. In New Zealand, we didn't. It's to do with the legislation. In New Zealand, you can't sue in the workplace. We have a health law that if you're injured, the government will cover your medical costs and a certain amount of wages lost, that you can't sue in the workplace. In America, if you get injured on a film set, hey, $1 million, thanks. Slip over to McDonald's, you can get $1 million. In New Zealand, you can't do that. So basically, our producers were like, go for it. And but I have to say that because of that, that's why Spartacus was so good. Everybody trained really hard, and the physical action was that close to being real because of the commitment of the actors and the stunt guys. It was fantastic. Yeah.
Question on your left.
First of all, thank you for all the great characters you brought to us. I know I've got the time getting everyone else to have something. But you covered what I was about to ask. Sorry, you sort of covered what I was going to ask in the last answer. But obviously, Stephen now likes to spam the internet with work out videos for Arrow and things like that. And I know you do a lot of sort of intense preparation for your roles. Did you ever have to do anything like that with him? Was that sort of a slow effort?
No, I think I think that there's a bit of bubble wrap involved in the production in terms of like keeping the lead actor safe, which is not a bad thing. It's a smart thing probably because the lead guy goes down. Steve's like filming 5 days a week. I mean, he doesn't get a break. So for him to be injured in any way would be catastrophic for the production and money. So so they're very much about swapping out the actor for a stunt guy. I just wasn't used to it because in New Zealand we've got to do our own stuff. That's all. I didn't think more or less of it. I was a little bit disappointed because I like to do my own physical stuff, but there were times, there were moments that we got to, but not like Spartacus. Spartacus was full on.
Question here, Commissioner Man.
We shouldn't be smiling at each other.
Nice to see you again. The question I had was, you've been in a lot of quite aggressive roles, really. Is there anything out there within sort of certain films or TV that you really want to do? Is there something that you want to do next?
I'm just looking. You know what I mean? Like there's this. I don't know, you say that I've been in a lot of aggressive roles, and I get this question a lot from people who know me when they say, when we watch you on television, we sort of only see this side of you, and it's sort of not the person we know, the friend we know, or whatnot, So, like I did ballet and music and a whole bunch of softer arts, more delicate arts, and sometimes I can bring that out in my performance with Nadia. Or with Shadow. You can see moments where Slade was, big. I mean, there was a moment in Arrow where we started joking. I started joking with Oliver on the island, but it was only about one episode, and then they threw it over the cliff. There was no coming back. So I mean, it would have been interesting. It would have been really interesting if there could have been or would have been. The ability for Oliver and Slade to maybe get over the fact that the Mirakuru was something that was injected into him not by will, you know, and there was a way of turning it around, but you know, it would have been a difficult conversation to say, well, sorry about your mum.
And that last scene, you told them that the very first scene that you did in Arrow.
The what, sorry?
The very first scene that you did in Arrow.
Oh yeah.
Tell them about the very first scene.
Oh, well, we did that before. Who's heard about my Arrow audition? Put your hand up if you've heard about it. Okay, there's only a few. Do you want to hear about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. I was in Kuwait doing a USO tour for, like, the military loves Spartacus. Any of the Brotherhood work codes love Spartacus. Firemen, policemen, you know. They're very aware of the consequences being in a group, and you know, I think that's why it resonates so much with them. So we were invited to go to Kuwait. We were actually going to go to Afghanistan, but there was a little bit too much going on up there at the time, so that part of our leg was cancelled last minute. So we spent several days in Kuwait, and I ended up going into one particular camp, Araf Jan, I believe, which was the exit point for everybody coming out of Iraq. And so I was sitting in a room with a bunch of special forces guys, and I just, you know, I wanted to know who was the guy that had seen the most action. I just wanted to look at his face. I just wanted to look at his eyes, and I didn't want to say it in some way that would be, you know, insulting. So I just asked him. I said, look, if you guys had to choose one of your boys here who saw the most action, who was, you know, the Rambo of your group, who would it be? And they turned around and they pointed to this. They all pointed, like it happened immediately. So that was definitely one guy, and they pointed to this guy called Knight, who was you know, this bald-headed guy. And I said, oh mate, come out here. I just want to meet you, you know. And so he came up. Come on, mate. So you know, he came up and yeah, come on. So he came up and I said, oh, you know, nice to meet you, brother. Yeah, just, you know, I can't believe you know, I act as a character, I act as a warrior. Even though my great-great-grandfather was the chief of our Maori tribe and a warrior, maybe that's in my blood, I only act as a character, so you being on the battlefield, you know, what's in your eyes, what's in your energy is remarkable. So it's amazing to shake your hand, and, you know, I wish I could ask you questions. And I said to him, listen, could you just show me one thing? Like, you know, obviously you're trained to be very effective and efficient. Can you show me a particular move that you might use, say, if you're in stealth mode or something? Like if you go into a village and the snipers have to shoot the dogs to stop them from barking, and then you come in and you've got to quietly go in and go to work. You know, what do you do? And at that moment, he grabbed me, like, around the neck. He grabbed me on the neck and he whispered in my ear, oh, yeah. Relax. Like, the way that he said it was really spooky. But he just went, relax. And then the next minute, he started choking me out. And I was going, lights were going out. I could feel it. So I grabbed his nuts as hard as I could. And he told me that he couldn't feel them for the next 2 days. And he said it was a really good move, actually. He said that was actually, I'm not going to grab you that. Thanks, brother. Thanks. So, anyway, another thing that this particular guy, me and this guy actually hung out for like 3 days and we became really good friends. You know, he told me some more stuff. You know, we just had conversations, and it was quite a unique experience to actually really meet somebody who's been there in the thick of it. And one of my issues when I was in Kuwait was that I was very tired. I'd flown from New Zealand and the jet lag killed me. And I was waking up at the hotel I was waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning and then not going to sleep. And then I got up and had to go in front of all these military boys. And anyway, Knight pulled out of his pack. I told him on this particular day I was feeling really jet lagged, and he pulled out of his pack an 8-hour energy drink, and a little tiny drink, and he said, "Here, this is what we use. You know, we get caught in a firefight. You know, it's like we're outnumbered and we're pinned down, and we can't go to sleep. You know, sometimes, you know. So we'll have this as a survival thing. You know, like we'll have to drop one of these and keep up the fight." And so I took it, and I said, "Well, thanks, mate." So I took it, and the next minute I'm standing in front of a bunch of soldiers going, "Shall we begin?" Enjoy Spartacus and having the right energy or having energy. Anyway, so him and me were good friends by the time I left. And the last minute I decided to go home. I was meant to go back to the Holland premiere in Wellington. And he drove me to the airport. And then when he got to the final point where he had to say goodbye to me at the gate, he took out an 8-hour energy drink and he gave it to me. And he said, "Here, something to remember me by." And I took this drink, and honestly, the way this happened to this day blows my mind how life works towards things. And I took it, and I put it in my shoulder bag, went through, got on the plane, flew to Los Angeles, was there for 48 hours. On the second day, I'm getting ready to go to the airport to leave to go back to New Zealand, and my manager rings me and she says, she's German, she's a German lady, she goes, Manu, where are you? And I said, "Oh, I'm just good, I'm about to go to the airport." She goes, "Oh, you haven't gone yet? Good, we have this audition for you." And I said, "What? Now? I gotta go to the airport." She goes, No, you have to go, it's for this show called Arrow." And I'd seen a billboard for Arrow when I'd arrived in LA. They'd already started the first season, or promoting the first season. And Stephen Amell, I knew, because when Andy Whitfield had got sick in New Zealand, they brought 3 actors over to try out for the replacement of Andy Whitfield. And Liam McIntyre was one who got the role, but then, Stephen Amell was one of the other guys. He wasn't very comfortable over in New Zealand. I knew he didn't have a good audition for him, and so it ended up going to Liam McIntyre. But I knew him, and so it was fascinating because I'd seen the billboard going like, "Oh well, there's that guy on that." The next minute I'm getting this phone call to say to go in and read for it. So on the way to the airport, I had the driver take me to this place called David Rappaport's casting. David Rappaport does all the main casting for Arrow as well, a whole bunch of shows. And as I pulled up in this car, I was like, God, I'm so super jet lagged. I just didn't feel like I had the energy to pull off a big audition. And then suddenly I went, I have the energy drink. So I went around my suitcase, pulled out this energy drink, chugged it, went up into this building, walked down. There was about 20, 30 actors that all looked like me in some way, or some tough guy, or whatever. They're all walking around like this going. It's like, as I was saying to you guys before, it's when you go in for an audition for a tough guy, it's funny when you go into the casting room. So there's all these guys sitting there, and they're all into character already, and we all eye each other, and it's like, it's one of the most testosterone-filled rooms you'll ever be in, and then they go in and do their audition, and I picked up the audition scene, and it was actually the scene. Who watches Arrow here? Right. For those of you who don't, I'm sorry this is going on, but it's going to go on. There's the opening scene that I appear in the series is the fuselage of the plane on Man U, and Oliver walks into it, and on the script page it says Oliver walks into the fuselage of the downed plane. All of a sudden, a shadow drops from behind him, and up jumps a military guy and grabs him in a chokehold. And suddenly I had this feeling that the energy drink was kicking in, like Mirakuru. And the bell suddenly went off that Knight not only gave me this energy drink, he taught me this chokehold. So I go in for, there were guys inside there, I could hear guys, and I was trying to monitor where to put the voice as well for this performance. And there were guys that were in there going like, "You got 10 seconds to tell me something I believe, kid, or I'm gonna cut out your throat box." And I'm going like, well, that's not going to work. That doesn't sound like this character. And then I really thought about what Knight sounded like. And when Knight had grabbed me and gone, relax, kid. Relax. You know, this tone. I'm taking the energy drink from Knight. I'm taking the chokehold from Knight. I'm taking the voice from Knight. What was Slade Wilson? Special Forces. Best of the best. How several days beforehand was I standing in front of a bunch of Special Forces guys and I said, who's the best? And they put this guy up, he put me in a chokehold, he gave me an energy drink, he whispered in my ear, and all of a sudden I had all of that reality to take into this audition room. So I walk in there, David Rappaport says, hi Manu, how are you? Love your work on Spartacus, really big fan of Trixus, glad to have you here. Anything you want to know? I said, yeah, can the guy behind the camera come in front of the camera? Because I'd like to hold him in a chokehold. Like instead of me just holding the air, can I just have him in front? And David Rappaport looked at this young guy, the young guy went, yeah, why not? He's got a big one. So this young kid gets up in front of the camera, that's okay, buddy. And so, you know, the opening scene was, you know, I jump down and I jump up behind the guy and I get him in a chokehold. And then I, you know, say these words, you know, you've got 10 seconds to tell me something I believe, kid. Otherwise, I'm going to cut out your throat box. It's pretty hard words. But I'm trying to think about how Knight would whisper them to me like it was a lullaby. So David Rappaport turns his camera on. I grab this guy in a chokehold, you know, and this audition starts, okay? David Rappaport's kind of pausing a bit. And I'm waiting, and he goes, are you ready? I said, yeah, I'm ready, I'm set. He goes, okay then, camera's rolling, and action. You got 10 seconds to tell me something I believe, kid. Otherwise, I'm going to cut out your throat box. At this point in the audition, the reader fell unconscious on the ground. Honestly, this is my audition for Arrow. I'm standing in front of David Rappaport, one of the biggest casting agents in LA, with an unconscious guy in front of me that's just been knocked out by the chokehold. And just for 1 second I thought there was a glimmer of hope, and I said, is this part of the scene? And he said, no, I think you choked him out. So everything was there to wait what had happened, and I said, are you okay, kid? Like, I was like, you okay? And he got up and he was like, he shook it off, because I mean, you know, thank you, brother, thanks, Jim. David Rappaport told me to go wash his face in the bathroom. But, something like this is David Rappaport. And I said, listen, David, I'm so sorry about that. I just was in Kuwait, and honestly, I met the guy who this character should be based on. And I've come in with trying to initiate that with as much honesty and performance that I can. And like he taught me the chokehold. Obviously it works. You know, just the tone of that character. Like, I mean, I was just trying to get it up, and you know, I had no idea that chokehold could work that effectively so quickly. So I'm sorry. And David Rappaport said, no. He said, no, don't worry about it. It was perfect. And for a second, I didn't know if he was lying, just trying to get me out of the room. And he said, come and have a look. So I went behind the camera, and we started watching the replay of this audition piece, and you see the guy going, and I'm going, oh my God. And then he's like, listen, I'm going to send this in, and I feel good about this. I feel like you brought exactly the right tone that we need for this character. So I left. My manager Amy, she was like, Manu, how did you go? I was like, I knocked out the reader, unconscious on the floor. And she's like, what? I said, yeah, but David Liverpool said he loved it, I think. Otherwise, we're never going to get a phone call again. Anyway, yeah, that's the crazy story about how that role happened. And then when I went to Wellington to do the premiere for The Hobbit, the next morning, I got a phone call from Ruth, and she was like, Manu, they want you to do the role. And you're going to fly to Canada on Thursday. I packed my bags and fly to Canada and changed my whole world 3 days later. You go join the Arrow team, but you know, those of you who are fans of Arrow, you know, it was a wonderful opportunity, and you know, that character was amazing. But you know, I totally fascinated myself with how it happened like that. And this guy called Knight, who's part of the U.S. military over in the Middle East, he's the guy that I have to thank for infusing me with that character.
Well, we've got time for one more question here on. So we're going on your right, the gentleman at the front.
Hi there. Do you think if you was ever offered, you'd reply for roles, staples, and whether it's an Arrow or like the other bad guys in Legends of Tomorrow, would you like to reprise that role?
Everything's a journey, brother. And you know when it feels like the beginning and when it feels like the end, you know? And sometimes you just have to go with your gut feelings on things, you know? They're coming up to episode 100. And I think that is going to be the answer everyone's waiting for. And I'll leave it to that episode to explain itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a massive round of applause to the Brits.